So we've gone through a lot of the players that the Patriots have brought in for draft visits. So we're going to break them down as well as the likely picks coming out of those visits. So their first round options that they've had for visits, or by the way, have gone into their schools for private workouts. So this does not include pro days. This does not include combine visits. This does not include anything other than players that they have brought in for visits or players that they have privately worked out at another location. So first round options, you have DJ Moore, the wide receiver from UND. They worked him out at Maryland. Rashaan Evans, we know that they brought him in for a workout. And then Sam Hubbard, they also went to Ohio State to work out, as well as Ronnie Harrison down there in Tuscaloosa. A lot of really nice options on that list. I like DJ Moore. I like the thought process. But with them picking up Jordan Matthews, I can't really see that happening. Sam Hubbard does not fit a lot of the things that the Patriots like out of their defensive linemen. And then Ronnie Harrison could be a good option, but I think he's more of a pick number 31 rather than a pick number 23. But Rashaan Evans is the guy that I brought up so many times as the top option for the Patriots at linebacker, especially pick number 23. Unless they trade up for Roquan Smith or maybe take a Leighton Vander Esch, which they haven't brought him in for a visit, so I don't think that's going to end up happening. I still think Rashaan Evans is the top guy for the Patriots at linebacker. Let's get into our next list of first-round options. We know that they brought in Derrius Guice last week. We reported that here. They brought in Connor Williams last week. Lorenzo Carter is another option from Georgia. And then Isaiah Oliver from Colorado, who they privately worked out in Boulder. A lot of good options on that list. I like Lorenzo Carter. I like Connor Williams. I don't think they're going to take Derrius Guice. Heck, I don't even know if Derrius Guice is going to be on the board. But watch out for Lorenzo Carter. He comps very well to a Jamie Collins, so keep an eye out for him at 31. And our last three first-round options, we have Courtland Sutton, who they worked out at SMU down here in Dallas. We also know about Kolton Miller, who I mentioned is coming in for a workout this week. And Ronald Jones III, the running back from USC, is in Foxborough today getting worked out. I'm sure he's pretty pissed how cold and disgusting and rainy it is. Also, shout out to everyone running the Boston Marathon today. I know it's rainy, I know it's gross, but Marathon Monday, national holiday, or should I say state holiday in Massachusetts. Congrats to everyone, and enjoy your Patriots Day. So let's get into Kolton Miller, a guy that I've mocked to the Patriots multiple times at pick number 31. Moves well for his size. He looks exactly like Nate Solder. We know that Dante Scarnecchia likes big guys that he can help mold into a really nice offensive tackle. I still think Kolton Miller is the pick at 31, but unless he gets picked first, then obviously they're not going to be able to take him. But I still think the Patriots will take a tackle in the first round. But I don't know from you guys, who should the Patriots take in the first round? Leave me a comment, or maybe leave a comment on YouTube as well. You can also send me a message on Twitter at SportsDean. I would love to hear who you guys will take in the first round. Let's get into some second round options. We talked a lot about Christian Kirk last week when they were talking with Johnny Manziel as well. Josh Sweat is the guy that they worked out at Florida State. And then Christian Sam, a guy who I mentioned during our rumors roundup that they brought in for a visit. A lot of connections between Bill Belichick and Arizona State head coach Todd Graham. So watch out for Christian Sam. I think he could be a really nice pick, maybe at the top of the second round or at the end. Let's get into our second list of second round options. We have two Oklahoma State guys on here, James Washington and Mason Rudolph. So we know that they visited Oklahoma State and worked out Washington and Rudolph there, but we also know that they brought in Rudolph for a private visit and a workout. I really like Mason Rudolph, but please, he is not the guy that the Patriots are going to take. The Patriots are not going to spend a first-round pick on a Big 12 quarterback. It's not going to happen. That's not the style of quarterback they go after. Go back to all the quarterbacks that the Patriots taken in the last couple years. You know who comps the closest to Mason Rudolph was Ryan Mallett, who was an SEC quarterback. You want to know when they took Ryan Mallett? They took Ryan Mallett in the third round. So this isn't a guy, they don't spend first round picks on quarterbacks unless they absolutely fall in love with them. If he's available at the top of the second round, maybe they'll take him, but he is not a first round pick. The Patriots are not going to take him at 31. It's not going to happen. That's not what they have done in their past. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but he does have a lot of talent. I think he'll end up being a nice backup quarterback in the NFL. Let's get into some later round guys, and we go to our third round. We got Breland Speaks, who they visited in Ole Miss. Duke Ejiofor, who they weren't able to work out, but they did interview at his school. He's still coming back from shoulder surgery, They visited Duke Dawson down in Florida. We already went over Mike White, but the guy I want to talk about who they brought in for a visit, who's been very hush-hush, has been P.J. Hall, the defensive tackle out of Sam Houston State, who has been absolutely absurd in his college career. He had a decent year last year. His junior year was absolutely outrageous. He had 13.5 sacks and over 20 tackles for loss. This past season, 19 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and he had 6 pass breakups, which means that he deflected and swatted down 6 different passes. An absurd number for a defensive tackle. I'm a little bit worried about his competition level, but I think he could end up being a Grady Jarrett kind of player. Watch out for the Patriots to make a move on him. They need a backup for Danny Shelton on defense. Let's get into some day 3 options. We have Keon Crossan, the Western Carolina cornerback. Probably more of an undrafted free agent, but he has a lot of skill and a lot of ability. His athletic traits were off the board. He just played at Western Carolina, so he's not going to get a lot of attention. We have Alex McGough, a quarterback from FIU, who actually played pretty well this past year, but again, a 6th, 7th, or later round guy. We have Trayvon Smith from Central Arkansas, another most likely undrafted free agent or a special teamer that they could draft in the 6th or 7th round. And then the guy that we broke his visit last week is wide receiver Braxton Berrios, who is basically Danny Amendola 2.0. Very similar size, very similar athletic traits. Good hand, smart receiver, good route runner, and we know that he visited last week. Look, Braxton Berrios would be a good receiver that the Patriots could pick up. I would predict maybe 5th, 6th, or 7th round for the Pats. Probably a 6th round pick if he does end up getting selected by the Pats. But Berrios will be a nice receiver wherever he goes. Watch out for Austin Carr, who the Patriots had in training camp last year that ended up with the Saints. Braxton Berrios is a very similar receiver to him. Our last couple of options, I don't think any of you know who these guys are, but they have gone and worked them out. You have Alec Bloom and Tommy Myers, the 2 tight ends from UConn, doing a little local work in the New England area. And then I mentioned Jacob Martin, the outside linebacker from Temple. So those are the those are the players that the Patriots have brought in for a draft visit or have worked out at their school. And that's going to do it for Patriots Report today, presented by Autolist. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsDean. If you need anything in terms of your Patriots news, it is definitely going to come from me. We broke the Braxton Berrios story last week, and I'm sure we'll break more stories as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. But that's going to do it for me. We'll see ya.